Hi there, and welcome to my little recording corner here in my studio/office. I want to introduce the Rødecaster Pro II today and sort of give my first impressions. There will be probably a lot of content over the next couple of weeks as I figure things out, and also as Rode needs to improve some things very, very badly, because there's some things that aren't quite there yet. So, but we'll go over these issues. The reason I bought the Rødecaster II, and this is not a sponsored video, I have bought this with my own money. I bought this for a very specific purpose. So I have the original Rødecaster Pro, and it is very good for what it is, but its purposes are a bit limited in the sense if you would want to use it for anything else than podcasts and recording audio or mixing audio. So the Rødecaster Pro II takes this to an entire different level. I actually stream, I game, I do IRL streaming, I do tech videos, tutorials, which you obviously know since you're here on the channel. And if you're new here, have a look around, give us a like while you're at it, and maybe subscribe. There's lots of contents like this of anything audio, video, and streaming. Either way, so where the Rødecaster came interesting is that I've been through a few iterations of my setup here. Originally I had the GoXLR, the big one, and the thing that bugged me with that was I needed more than 4 faders. 4 faders were just not enough. The other thing I had is that because the crossover from the game PC to the stream PC is analog, there is a delay. When you listen to yourself, you are like, I do all my monitoring on the stream PC, so there was always a delay, and it just annoyed me. So I moved from that setup to using a piece of software called Voicemeeter that does all my voice routing on the stream PC. Voicemeeter, I can have 5 physical and 3 virtual audio in, and I can have 5 physical and 3 virtual audio out, and then I can actually add virtual audio cables, so I could convert some physical inputs and outputs to virtual ones. So that's what I did, but for that I wanted the ability to have physical faders, and that's where the platform M Plus came in, and I also had a platform X Plus here, and they talk via MIDI to Voicemeeter. Now, Voicemeeter can be finicky enough. You have to be very adamant about your setup, and you have to basically be very clean, otherwise you get other odd issues. But beyond that, it has worked very, very well for me for a very long time. And when Rode then launched the Rødecaster Pro II, I basically saw the opportunity that I could actually rip out that half of my setup here. I had on top of that, for my audio interfaces, I had a Focusrite Scarlett 18i8 on the stream PC, and I had a Focusrite 18i20 on the game/work PC. Now that's a lot of I/O. I didn't need that much I/O, but it was nice to have. But I wanted to be able to have more than 2 microphones on the system. So they are also gone. To show you a picture of what the setup was here. And so the Rødecaster Pro II arrived, and it has 2 USB ports where you can use one to connect to one PC and one you can use to connect to another PC, for example. So I have 2 audio in and 2 audio out on USB 1, and I have 1 audio in and 1 audio out on USB 2. So obviously I have connected USB 1 to my stream PC. That gives me 2 audio in, 2 audio out over there, which isn't enough I/O for me, but we get to that. And I have connected the second USB to the game PC, which gives me 1 audio in and 1 audio out, and that is actually sufficient enough. It also will mean that I can probably rip out 3 or 4 sound cards out of my stream setup. So, which makes more space for other peripherals. So the one special thing that the Rødecaster Pro II also brings to the picture is multi-track recording. And that means I can record 16 channels. So you can bring 16 channels out of the Rødecaster Pro II into my stream PC. And supposedly still retain 2 in interfaces into the Rødecaster 2 from the stream PC. Now that doesn't work quite that way right now. So one of the things is that, for example, that when I start multi-track recording, it will disable either the Rødecaster chat or the Rødecaster main interface on the stream PC. And it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to give me 2 basically out interfaces and just no more microphones. So that's something I have already raised with Rode. The other thing I then came across, which is nice actually. So one of the things that's really handy, obviously I want to control my volume and which channels are muted and all that from the Rødecaster, right? But when I go to settings here and I go to outputs and I go to multitrack and then I go to USB, I can set the output to post fader, and that means that all volume levels from the Rødecaster are adhered to. The sound that comes to the PC is the sound at the volume that I send it to it. What it ignores at the moment is the mute buttons, and that's not supposed to be like that. So again, that's a bug. I've raised that. Rode support has clearly acknowledged that that's definitely not the way it should be. So that's fine. And then the next problem I ran into is that I use a Sonos soundbar here as my monitor, as my audio system. I have a Sonos soundbar here behind the PCs, and I have 2 speakers in the back, 2 IKEA Sonos picture frame speakers, which gives me Dolby 5.0 on the speakers. But Rode didn't include a Toslink interface into the Rødecaster Pro II. Nearly every PC sound interface has a Toslink out for fiber connection into a speaker like that. So that's a bit of an oversight, I would say. I was a bit more studio thinking than thinking of stream PC. And here is the next issue, which is that if I go into Rode Central, okay, so Rode Central is the app that manages all Rode devices, and it also manages the Rødecaster Pro II now. So I click on the Rødecaster Pro II. I have firmware 103 at the moment. That's the newest firmware there is. You can actually then customize a whole lot of things here. And I click on settings up here, and it allows me to set monitor out. But this doesn't do anything. Like, I set this to my Toslink interface, to my SPDIF out on my PC, and it wasn't doing monitoring. That's another thing I need to talk to them about and see what the story is there. That would be handy if you just connect a speaker to whatever PC you have USB 1 on, and then it will run the monitor out to that. So my way around that has been that I actually have the Arctis Pro wireless headset, and the Arctis Pro wireless headset has Toslink in and Toslink out, and it also has an analog in and out, and that's connected to the monitor out of my Rødecaster Pro II now. And then from there I have the Toslink out into my Sonos soundbar. The advantage of that is actually that once I turn the headset off, it will send the sound to the speaker, and when I turn the headset on again, it will automatically turn off the speaker. So in that set, those 2 items are a really great combo. So that fixed basically all my issues on that end. Does it have enough channels to replace the GoXLR? Yes and no. It does not, and it does yes. First of all, at the moment, the Rødecaster Pro II is lacking routing. You have the ability to use a mix minus, but you cannot individually route each channel as you see fit from one to the other, just with a full matrix. And that is really something that they need to implement. Now, the good news is that on Friday, Rode already announced a developer video where they said they are now working on routing for the Rødecaster Pro II. and is one of the first features that they're going to implement to make this more usable for streamers, and that is seriously good news. So I'm looking forward to that. I still don't have enough audio in devices from the Stream PC. So I have effectively at the moment, I have 16 multi-track interfaces. I have one in and one out. And the way it works normally with the Stream PC now, depending on everybody's setup, but like in my case, I run my Discord voice chat, I run that on my Stream PC, I run my music on my Stream PC, and I also route stream alerts. I run those from the Stream PC into the Rødecaster Pro II. This is where the GoXLR had it just right. The GoXLR had 4 interfaces in and out to the Stream PC. So you have your music, you have your system, and you have your chat. So that's the basic interfaces that every stream sort of requires. And typically these are all on the Stream PC. Now I have at the moment, I have one into the Rødecaster. I have managed to make a workaround, and I show that in a bit, to get a second out of the Stream PC into the Rødecaster by basically using the Bluetooth path. And if the second into the Rødecaster from the Stream PC fixed, then I can probably live with that. I would prefer to have 4 interfaces, but I will at least have 3 at that point. I then have one in and out into the game PC, so that's pretty good. So let's dive into how you get the ASIO set up. For OBS, which is what I use for streaming, there is a OBS ASIO plugin. It's not part of OBS itself, but it's a plugin that you install. And for that you go to GitHub and you find Under Summer's OBS ASIO plugin. I will link the plugin down below in the description. And you go to releases here. Hang on, let's see. So you go to releases here on the right hand side, and you download the Juice version is the one for OBS 27, and that works perfectly. You install that. So I've done that, and then additionally you need from the Rødecaster Pro II site, and actually I can show here where in the specification it very clearly says 1x2 in 16 out, or 1x2 in 2 out with mix minus. So I should have had 2 speaker interfaces while using multi-channel according to their own specifications. Anyhow, what you do is you go down and you go to downloads under the Rødecaster Pro II section, which is rode.com/rcp2, and you find the Rødecaster Pro II ASIO drivers. You will need those for this to work, and you install those. And voila, now you can have multi-channel. I have already my Rødecaster mic 1 set up because I'm actually recording it at the moment. And we are going to go and we're going to, I just add this here. So I'll add up here at the top, there is the ASIO input capture, right? And then we go and we call that Rødecaster mic 2. That's the second microphone. And we'll select, and you'll find when you have, if you have everything installed as you should, then you will find a Rødecaster Pro II ASIO driver up here. Mono because it's a microphone. So now I have a second microphone, and you can see volume levels on that. That's because I have a second microphone clipped on here as a wireless one that I'm recording. And then we can add the game PC. So we'll do that again the same way. Click down here, ASIO input capture, Rødecaster game, Rødecaster Pro II ASIO. This is a stereo channel now, and you select USB 2 main left and USB 2 main right. So that's your game PC in. And then we'll add the Bluetooth channel, which I will set up for music later. We add that already now. So I have the music channel now, and then go in here and I do another one, Rødecaster sounds, because we do want the sound pads. Okay. Rødecaster Pro II. As you can see here, so stereo, yeah. As you can see here, you have a left and right, that's a mix of everything. You have combo 1, 2, 3, 4, that's your 4 microphone ports or whatever you use them for. I have 2 mics set up on that right now. You have Bluetooth left and right, which is where I said I'm going to use that for music. You have sounds left and right, that's your sound pads. And then you have USB 1 main left and right, USB COM, which is your chat left and right, and USB 2 main left and right. Was the sounds I was going to add, wasn't it? Sounds, yes. Okay. I can show, for example, with the sound pads, I have added them now, and if I then go and hit this, yeah, so that works perfectly well now. And so basically I can now control every single of these in OBS. And at the moment I can't mute the microphone by using the mute button. It will ignore that in OBS because the Rødecaster still sends the audio to the ASIO driver. So I have set up a Elgato foot pedal, and if I press the pedal, I mute my microphone here. So that's my workaround for now. So that's actually working quite nicely. Let's get over to the Bluetooth portion, because there's a couple of things to this. First of all, sometimes I use this to set up for meetings, and sitting in a meeting on a conference call on Zoom or Skype with a big headset like this isn't really that professional. So you might want to have something that's a bit more out of view, something like a bit more professional setup, right? And for that, I have these little Mi 6 Bluetooth headsets. I'm going to leave a link to those also in the description. And we are going to set them up as monitor using Bluetooth on the Rødecaster Pro II. So let me take these off. Okay, and then get these on instead. As you can see, these are much less intrusive than the big gaming headsets that I use otherwise. So we go into the settings of the Rødecaster, go to system, go to Bluetooth, we put the headset into pairing mode. I then go search for audio devices, and I already found the Mi Audio BTC2, so I connect to that. I say connect. And I actually now have audio. And one thing where I went wrong in the first place is when I originally got this, so you have a little Bluetooth logo here now, besides the monitor logo, right? In the output settings, monitor, yeah. There is the auto mute output. And when I originally paired the headsets up the first time, I had that enabled, and I was getting no audio whatsoever. So the idea that Rode had was that if you pair Bluetooth speakers to the Rødecaster Pro II, it should auto-mute the speakers when you add a microphone, when you have a microphone active. And that meant that I had no audio on my headset, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And the way you know that that setting is set is there's an X over the monitor and there's an X over the Bluetooth logo. So it's actually as simple as that. But yeah, I have perfectly good voice now in these headsets directly via Bluetooth from the Rødecaster Pro II. And for a meeting, a conference, like an online virtual conference, that's absolutely brilliant. And it looks a lot more professional than the big headset on your head. So I'll turn these off again, if we want to use Bluetooth for something else. And the way it is at the moment, the Rødecaster Pro II can only talk to one Bluetooth device at the time. I don't know if they're going to change that. It would be nice if they do, but that's at the moment, it looks like it's the limitation with that. So I have my headset back on again, and we go into Bluetooth, search for devices, unpair. I'm unpairing the headset, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to pair this with the PC, because I want to have that second audio channel so that I have audio. The Bluetooth portion of the Rødecaster Pro II is not quite as straightforward yet as one would want it to, but I'd say they're going to improve that one yet. So what we do now is we go into the settings again, we go into system, into Bluetooth, and we say it's now discoverable, right? On the streaming PC, I then go to add Bluetooth or other device, Bluetooth, and it starts searching, and it found my Bluetooth microphone, it found my phone. Come on. And there's the Rødecaster Pro. And it says there's a code 370788, same on the Rødecaster, connect to that. Setting up the device. Your device is ready to go. Now I'm going into the audio device. Sometimes this doesn't work quite as well as you would want it to. So we go into the open sound settings. Yeah, it's not here. So what I'll do instead is I will try and go into Bluetooth, open settings, and we'll disable Bluetooth for a little bit. Going back in here. Let's disconnect from here. Okay. Remove this again. Search for again. Connect. And this is what you want, connected to voice and music. Sometimes it takes 2 attempts to get that, but once it says that, you're golden. So what we do now, go to the audio interfaces, from sound settings, and it has gone, and for the input, it actually switched to Rødecaster Pro II stereo. We don't want that, we want Rødecaster Pro II chat as our main interface. So that I didn't want to change. What I want to do is I want to go into the advanced settings for Spotify music, and then there are some profiles here. So what you have is you have the Rødecaster Pro II main, that's the USB interface, the main one. You then have speakers Rødecaster Pro II chat, that's also USB, right? You then have headset Rødecaster Pro II hands-free AG audio, and you have headphones Rødecaster Pro II stereo. And here's one of these things that basically, well, we'll test it now. I'll select the headphones Rødecaster Pro II stereo, right? I then start some music. And as you can see, I have nothing. That has happened to me before. So I go back into the settings, and instead I go and I choose the headset. And as you can see, I have now music. Now, normally I would want the headphones because that's a less compressed profile on Bluetooth. But it doesn't always work. So at the moment we'll just use the headset and then see if Rode can fix that. So that's my second channel from the stream PC established to the Rødecaster Pro II, and that means I can send my I can have my chat from the Rødecaster Pro II, and I can have my music, and I have still to look at how I'm going to deal with alerts. So the alerts I can probably put on the Rødecaster 2 chat interface, because they should only be routed for me to hear and then not back into obviously Discord again. Once the routing is established, that will work perfectly, so I don't need to separate them then. Okay, yeah, so that's the Bluetooth portion. So I have one channel for my Discord chat, I have one channel for my music over Bluetooth to the Rødecaster. I have one channel in and out to my game PC, my work PC that I use. And I have all my microphones connected on the Rødecaster Pro II. I have one Shure SM7B here that's directly connected, no cloud lifter, nothing needed there. I have a second microphone, which is a wireless microphone that's connected to my ATEM Mini Extreme, which is then routed back into another mic port on the Rødecaster Pro II. That works nicely. And then I have my my monitor. I have that connected into the Arctis Pro wireless base that then also feeds my speaker system here. And so far, this works really, really well. Now you might be asking, why is that Icon Platform M Plus still on the desk? Well, I used to have a little Korg Nano Control 2 MIDI DAW surface also sitting here, that's on the game PC. If I start Firefox here, you can see the slider goes up. And basically what I have is I have my main volume control for this PC. I have a fader for my Chrome, I have a fader for my Firefox, I have one fader that I can still assign, I have a fader for my microphone if I use a microphone directly connected to the game PC, and I have 4 faders for lights. So I can, for example, drag these down and it dims the U lights in my office. So I can control lights, turn them on and off. I use an application called MIDI Mixer for that. There is another video in my channel on that, how you get the Korg Nano Control 2 to work with that. Obviously, the Platform M Plus is the advanced version of that. So that's for my first impressions of the Rødecaster Pro II. There is certainly need for improvement from Røde's end. It is a very, very new product, but I reckon if they iron out the bits and pieces, they get the routing sorted, they get the extra interface from the PC to the Rødecaster going, it will actually be a GoXLR killer. That's for me for today. Happy streaming and gaming, and see you another time.